Hey y'all, my name is Sarah Shudik and I teach forensic science at Lubbock Cooper High School. This video is for you if you are interested in digital notebooking for your students in your classroom. I found a method that works really well for me, so today I want to introduce you to some of the important elements that I think should be included in just a general digital notebook for any class. So hopefully this is helpful for you. This year, since we have so much uncertainty and our students are in person and then virtual and back and forth, we have taken our class 100% digital. And so what that means is we've had to come up with a way to, one, make it easier for myself and the other forensics teachers to work together, and two, have a solid way for students to navigate and organize what they're doing in a way that makes sense to them. So we found really that organization and consistency are going to be the most important things for digital notebooking. The first thing our students do every day is they open up our LCP Forensic Science Google site. The site is organized by unit. So we have a section for accelerated and a section for on level. There's a drop-down menu there where each of the units are clearly labeled. So if you look here, we see we have highlighted unit 6 and we see day 1, day 2, and that will go all the way down to days 4 and 5. So when students then go into their Google Classrooms, we make sure to code the assignments the same way that they are labeled on their Google site so they know exactly which assignment goes where. And then when they open their actual digital notebook that you see at the bottom, again, that's going to be labeled according to where they turn it in classroom and the labeling on the Google site. So if I tell students to pull Unit 6 Day 1, they should know exactly where to go, exactly where to turn it in, and the cover of their digital notebook should reflect that title as well. One thing you're going to find in any subject that you teach is students are going to have a hard time keeping track of where you are in your semester. So maybe an extra step we could take to help students stay on track would be to color code every unit in a different color. So even if students have no idea what the unit is actually called, maybe they'll remember, oh hey, we're working in the green unit this week. I need to be in the green unit. So this is just something that together we've decided to come and collaborate on to help us keep track of what we're doing, to help students remember which journal they're working on. So before I mention that consistency is one of our most important factors in digital notebooking, especially this year when students are being thrown change after change after change. We want to make sure that what we're doing is going to be the same routine every single time they come in. They know what to expect and they know what to do with their materials. So the covers of our journal are going to look consistently the same, and when they open those journals, the very first thing they're going to see is a checklist of what we're doing that day and their responsibilities. Here's an example of what that checklist looks like from one of our journals. We have general information on the left, including a link to virtual office hours, and then on the right, we have a checklist of what they should do in order in that journal, which activities to complete, and a reminder to submit to Google Classroom. Now, if you're in the actual Google Slides version of this, you would be able to take those check marks and drag them to the boxes as if you're completing an actual checklist. When you're building this as a teacher, you want to make sure that the checklist matches up with the slides, the order of the slides that you have inside your notebook. You want everything to be in order on the checklist the same way it's organized in the journal. One of the video options you have to watch during your PD is making videos for any subject. That video by Michaela Brown, I highly suggest you watch that one. She talks about using clips to record demos, notes, anything you need for your class. And we also use clips and we import those clips into our notebooks. So our notebooks become a center for students to get everything they need all in the same place. Here's an example of what that might look like in our class. So we make a video of ourselves, walking students through the notes slide by slide through our presentations, just like we would do in front of the class. So the students that are temporarily virtual, they're not missing out on seeing the teacher's face, on getting those little extra tidbits of information that we say outside of the notes through conversation. They can actually watch and put a face to the video, to the class, and etc. And this will help them to not fall behind on the notes when they're absent. We like to use a lot of visuals in our digital notebooks. We don't want students to open something up and have it just be pages and pages of text. So if there's a logo, we include a logo. If we can find a video that's appropriate, we make sure and link that. The video you see on this page is just a YouTube link that we inserted into Google Slides, and students can click on that and view it in an external browser. The only thing is, as a teacher, before you put in a YouTube video, you need to make sure that that video is approved for LCISD users. If it's not, there's a little button that says approve. Just be careful when you do that you're approving content that's appropriate for all LCISD users, not just your students. We collaborate, so we are both editors on all of these digital notebooks that we're creating. So I can work on day 1 while she works on day 2, and what we do is we build an entire unit, and then as a team, we talk about it and decide how we can break that whole unit down day by day, and that's what we separate off for the students. So we only give students 1 day at a time, but as a teacher, we have the master copy of the entire unit, so we know what's coming up next, and if we need to make adjustments, we can make adjustments before we roll that information onto our Google site for students to access. What you're looking at here is an example of a science lab experiment that we did from start to finish. So you'll see that students need to take pictures intermittently to show data and observations. But this is really just an example of any kind of mini project or extended assignment that you want students to do independently. You can really customize and tailor it to the level of your students academically. So if you teach a lower level class, then fill in a lot of the information for them, give it to them in a format that's all laid out and very clear with where they need to go next and what information they need to include, versus if you teach a higher level class, leave more of this information blank. Have your students decide what the next step should be. Give them some creative freedom to add their own personal touches into it as well. I know this is a lot of information, and you may or may not be comfortable with building your own digital notebook from scratch. So the good news for you is if you work in Lubbock Cooper ISD, I have a template for a digital notebook that I'm 100% willing to share with you. It is customizable and you can tailor it to your specific content at whatever level you teach. If you just feel free to reach out to me anytime via email, if you need help or guidance or have questions, I'm more than happy to share and collaborate with you. My email should be at the top of the screen. So I hope that this was helpful for you, and maybe I'll hear from you soon.